touring this long isn't healthy, not just for my mental, but like my like physical world too. Like everything is like dying, like my plants are dead and shit. So like
Hi, I'm Dhruva, and I'm joined by Tori y Moi for the latest in Enemies in Conversation series. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
Which is great. So your latest album, Mahal, is gorgeous. Congratulations. When did you start working on it?
Thanks. It's been a project I've been focused on for about 5 or 6 years now, since like the end of the What For sessions, which is my album, 2015. So 2014. So I kind of have just been chipping away at this thing, wanting to make another psych rock record that's not as clean and a little bit more gritty. Yeah, I kind of felt like quarantine really uh, made me want to just finish it. It
Yeah.
wasn't like it was something that was inspired through quarantine. It was just like, okay, this is a good time to just wrap this project up because um, I have the time to do it. But also, I just felt like, I don't know, I it started off as this project with like multiple musicians and reaching out to the musician scene in the Bay Area and within my band and just trying to like make stuff like that. And I realized that's not going to happen again anytime soon. Like getting all these people in for these sessions during a couple of years ago or whatever. So I kind of I was like, okay, let's wrap it up. I think this is done because so yeah, it just kind of just happened.
It's quite a thematic listen from like the intro with the car engine starting, coupled with the interludes, and then to the lyrical themes throughout. What inspired this kind of like almost ride-along journey which underpins the album?
I guess the Jeep aspect and the vehicle sort of themes came up. That's what I meant when I like wrapping it up. Like I really wanted to finalize the concept of it. I had these songs. I just needed to put them in a world. So when it came to sort of the visuals,
Mm.
um, quarantine and the pandemic, I was like, I need to come up with a device or a plan that's kind of pandemic proof. So I wanted to just like go with a vehicle. And my thinking was, I'm going to bring the record to the people, bring it to the record shops, literally bring it to the coffee shops and like play it out to crowds and stuff. And then we landed on, really homing in on the cultural aspect of it being a jeepney. So that just kind of coincided with all of these themes. And yeah, that it all stems from the pandemic kind of. So just wanting to not rely on venues or being in large groups of people. So
That's really interesting because I found that it kind of skips across so many genres. It's kind of like this auditory exploration. Did you just allow yourself to wander when making it?
yeah, somewhat. I did have to practice some
Mm.
constraint and like I did want it to live in this certain era or a sound. I didn't want to go too far into the 80s, for example, or too far into the now. Um, so there's some practice and restraint.
Yeah, I also found that what connected everything was this almost danceable quality to it, which I think is was really important during the pandemic and quarantine. Um, like I loved how on last year there's this kind of woozy slowness, and then on Postman there's like an upbeat funk rhythm. Everything feels really groovy. Again, did you go into like creating this album with that idea in mind?
Um, yeah, I mean, those two songs that you just mentioned were actually both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Postman was actually one of those songs that I did finish earlier in the process, and last year was more of like where we are now.
Mm.
I think you can hear that too, and just like the cadence and stuff. But like I, with each project, I try to maintain a balance of introspective and more outward, just fun club ready tracks. But at the same time, I don't want to be tone deaf to the concept or to the world. So I do I didn't want to put out a house record. No one's going to clubs right now. Well, now they are, but when I was making it, no one was going to clubs, and I just wanted to really try to find something upbeat. And that upbeat thing was, yeah, getting mail or getting packages. Um, that was like the sweetest part of the day. So,
There's also like a kind of irony too when you said like there's only bills left to pay.
yep,
Yeah, which I thought was really perfect because during the pandemic, that's all you still had to keep doing.
yeah. I felt like that's the meat of that song is that we have these people come by our houses and apartments every day to give us these bills, and it's just a funny idea, funny concept.
Yeah, and I loved how on the album the catchiness to it is very much like for the home. It's like it's got this intimacy. You can kind of slow dance a living room or just like
Yep.
do joy in the way you wanted to. But the lyrical themes throughout I found really interesting because it was in perfect aversion to like a technology driven world.
Yeah.
Can you speak more to like the thematic content of the lyrics in it?
Yeah, I think a big theme throughout the record is just sort of subtle commentary on the digital age and the um, the decline of printed matter. And we have the mail, for example, and bills, and all of that's now online and e-bills. It's like a fading thing, having paper and like having periodicals, books, and magazines and postcards. Like I wanted to sort of touch on that and show that there is something enjoyable, or there's something sweet about that interaction with tactile
Yeah.
media, not solely relying on a screen for your information or for your content. So I kind of just wanted to touch on that, and not really persuade the listener in any which way, but just bring it up, just put it in the picture frame, bring it in the frame, and sort of remind people that there are alternatives.
There's this lyric that I really enjoyed as well. Online trends that border cringe start to feel overused. I saw this band I think you dig, but the record got bad reviews. Could you explain more about that couplet?
Well, first of all, I like to sort of take a meta approach to a lot of my work. Um, there's that aspect, and then another thing is just commentary on my own experiences or my own uh, perspective as a professional musician. Like I'm not gonna sit here and talk to you about like all these material things. Like I that's just not me really. So like I will talk to you about like critics because that's fun. So like I kind of, yeah, it's not even a jab. It's more just like showing awareness as
Yeah.
a musician in this day and age.
And musically, you worked with a lot of people on this album, with Sophie Royer, Unknown Mortal Orchestra's Ruben Nielsen, Neon Indians, Alan Palomo, and the Matson too. Like, how did you kind of gather these disparate musicians together under one umbrella?
It did take a lot of time, like for all of those stars to align. It kind of, that's why I was saying, I think it's just time to just get this out, because I felt good with the amount of collaborations and the amount of genres that were involved. I felt like um, really it was just time. Like the Ruben collaboration, for example, was actually from like 2016 or so,
Oh wow.
2015. So like that's kind of one of those tracks. To me, it doesn't. It's a strong track, like the medium. Like I don't think it's a weak track, but it just didn't belong on What For. Because I really wanted. I was working on two albums, like a heavy psych rock album, which is Mahal, and then a more soft rock album, which was What For. And the medium immediately went to the hard rock section. Hard rock. It's not hard rock, but yeah.
You also signed this album to secretly labels Dead Oceans. I thought that was really interesting. How did that collaboration come about?
Kind of just got to the point where I felt like I was sort of outgrowing Car Park and just sort of looking for another home for Toro. Um, I've been a fan of Secretly and all of their companies for a while, for like my entire career basically. So when it did come to, record shopping time, I've never really done that before in to this extent, like for my own, stuff. But yeah, I felt good about the whole move, the whole deal. It felt like all the artists on there I really resonate with,
Yeah.
honestly, like Phoebe, Bright Eyes, um, Mitski, Japanese Breakfast. I feel like it really feels like home, honestly. Like I feel like it's a good place for Toro.
Coming back to the sounds of the album, I really enjoyed how, and I think you've spoken to this, how it kind of like pushes you through the monotony of today, like the themes and the production. Did making this help you over the last 2 years, like kind of battle what was going on outside?
The hardest part of this record was just getting the lyric content
Yeah,
down, and that's what I feel like. I don't know. I'm always doing lyrics last. So with this record, though, I was like, what is there to say? First of all, you can assume that every artist is probably going to write about COVID. So
yeah,
I didn't write about it. So like, that's just one thing. I was just like, okay, just don't talk about COVID or pandemic, because like everyone is going to do that. And then you're just going to sort of like cement your work in that era. And sometimes you don't want your songs to remind you. I mean, unfortunately, like you did listen to this song while you were sick, but yeah, I do feel like you don't want it to remind you of like, dark times or something. So
yeah.
I was working with that. I had a lot of time to really come up with a plan and think of something fun and smart for this rollout. And I think involving the Jeep really took away some of, or like alleviated the monotony that you mentioned. But yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like you're just driving through, and again, coming back to that sound, it kind of feels like you're driving through different eras, but not in a linear way. Which, again, with the track listing, was that done in particular? Like, was that on purpose?
for some parts, overall, I wanted to just sort of space out
Hmm,
the heightened zones, like keep all of the bangers sort of spread out and stuff like that. So
that makes sense.
there's that stuff. Yeah,
I mean, this it's a great album, and is what else is in store for 2022 for you?
just lots of touring, lots of shows. I feel really supported by like everyone throughout this whole process. So I'm just taking my time and not really like jumping into things too fast. I kind of feel like these days, especially now, it's like man, everything is getting more and more intense. So like I'm just trying to be a little bit more um, intentional, really. Just like I don't see myself going on the road for 4+ weeks or anything like that. Like that's just not in my head at the moment. So really, I'm just focused on trying to get my home life and my work life like just remaining on track. Not that it's off track, but just like keeping on track. And I think being on the road for plus like over 2 weeks, you start to lose touch with your bills, your people, your family, your pets, like everything. So I'm just like, you know what? Like touring this long isn't healthy, not just for my mental, but like my like physical world too. Like everything is like dying, like my plants are dead and shit. So like I'm just like I don't like coming home to bills and dead plants. So
Yeah. How do you think you're going to navigate that, especially as fans like will want you to play in their cities, for example?
right. I mean, I will play in their cities, not consecutively. So
I guess like
just
one-off shows, right?
yeah, that's more my pace these days, and hopefully some residencies. And honestly, I feel like I've afforded myself this like
Mm,
uh, pleasure or this privilege to be able to space it out this way. Like I put my my 10+ years in, so I can say that I can chill for a second. I don't have to continue to yeah, break my back. But I love what I do. I love playing to my fans, and I love getting the music out there. But at the same time, hopefully, my Toro fans really, really do know that like they see me as an artist, not just as an entity or like a commercial entity. So like it's cool that I get that grace from them.
Are there any exciting collaborations in the rest of this year or musically that you can reveal?
Sure. I mean, no, not really. Just really, I'm focused on Toro. Trying to just get this whole rollout started and rolling. Um, I feel like this is the first time in maybe 8 years or so where I really just had to like bite the bullet and sort of endure the rollout, sit on the music for however long it needs to be sat on, and wait for it to come out to do this whole mass introduction. So like I'm just being patient, just patiently waiting for this music to come out one song by at a time, and just I'm excited to get it to people. I've had it in my head for over 5 years now. So like it's one of those things where it's like I know that it's gonna stand the test of time because I'm not sick of it actually. So, but I'm sick of some other songs, that I've done, and I'm like, God, I'm tired of hearing this song. So I feel like because it's a guitar based record and it's a little bit more analog and warm, it really can sort of sit in the background or it can be enjoyed a little bit longer.
Definitely. And I think what you said is really true. Like, it will stand the test of time because you've been working on it for so long. It hasn't been like a quick project. So your patience for like just it must be dying to release it.
I'm ready to get it out to the people, and I'm glad that you've heard it. I'm ready for people to hear it because like it's a story. It's a whole thing. So.
Yeah, it's really great. Again, congratulations. Do you have any last words for the fans and me?
Not too much to say, but thank you. That's all I can say is thanks for the support, and like I'll see you soon.